Kent. All right, there we go. We're live. We're talking about a potential major winter storm here setting up across the northern United States. This is happening right now. Major winter storm, potentially a few feet of snow, and we'll go over that in a second. But before we begin, hit that subscribe button if you like daily weather forecasts, live streams. Hit those bell notifications, and comment below where you're from in the comments section. Also, if you have any good photos of this storm, send them in, and we'll showcase them live here. So you can go to the Weather Decoded Facebook page and direct message me there. First and foremost, we're going to look at the watches and warnings we got set up here. Blizzard winter storm watches up there, freezes and frost warnings to the south, severe thunderstorms down into Oklahoma and Kansas. Quite an active day here. If we zoom into the northern plains, you can see blizzard warnings even for north central North Dakota. I'm going to go over every few hours. We're going to look at the data here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you snowfall amounts by some interesting maps that I found. And so first and foremost, we're going to look at the 7 p.m. here. Okay, so 7 p.m. is what the first hour we're going to look at. And you can see this is the low pressure system. This is the forecast by the WPC. I'm going to go over the models as well, but nice organized low pressure system, really nice cold front. Not quite organized perfectly yet. And you're about to see this blow up like crazy real soon here. Very nice snow on the backside falling. And as you fast forward here, actually, we'll look at the models real quick, and you can see this is what the model has forecasted, just light rain. The isobars aren't terribly close together yet, so the wind's not too bad, but there's your high pressure system right there, low pressure system right here. This has got all the makings of a potential major winter storm. And light snow right now in the Dakotas, but you can see that pull of moisture, some dry air to the south. Temperatures already, there's your 32-degree line right there. Places east, it's probably going to be kind of a mixed precipitation. Places west, obviously, is going to be snow. The winds aren't too bad yet, but about 15 to 20 miles an hour, 15 to 30. Here's your upper levels and your lift. We'll go over that in a second. This is going to be at midnight here on Friday morning. You can see that cold front really starts to advance south, but this low starts to really start cranking. And on the backside, you're going to get some pretty heavy snow that sets up. We're talking maybe an inch or more an hour. And you can see this right here. This is going to start to strengthen on the day Friday. These isobars are going to start to get really tightly packed. This low is going to deepen. This high is going to kind of move to the east. That's really going to send some strong wind out into the Dakotas and very heavy snow as a response. And you can see that moisture, very good. Temperatures, the 32-degree line starts to move to the east and south as well. And the winds start to strengthen about 20-25 miles an hour. Look at that upper level low now. That the positive vorticity advection will start to increase, and you can see very, very good upper level dynamics here. That's going to send a response to this low pressure system, and it's going to help it deepen. This is going to swing up into the Dakotas and Minnesota here as we go towards Friday, and you're going to see that low pressure system just blow up. And here we go. This is going to be 6 a.m. Friday. Here's your low pressure system right here. A little bit of a trough back there. Nice cold front, probably some rain and thunderstorms, maybe even some severe weather in Arkansas overnight. But you got this nice comma head starting to appear now. I mean, this is around 6 a.m. or so Friday. Through about what I think is going to be around midnight, you're going to have some pretty heavy snow. Very organized low pressure system. And your heaviest snow is going to be up in North Dakota. Nothing's really changed from my previous forecast on the channel. Looks pretty good, except maybe amounts will be even higher. That's what I'm thinking here. So look at this now. You got some good moisture getting back, wrapping around on the back side here. Nice tail of moisture coming up into this thing. Nice dry punch, too. You're going to get a mid-level dry punch. That's going to limit snow amounts for much of Minnesota. Even though it's very cold here, there's a lot of dry air getting sucked into this thing, typical of these low-pressure systems. You get moisture that kind of wraps around like a comma, and then dry air that gets punched in. And look at this real quick. The temperatures, if I have them here, 6 a.m. Yeah, it's cold enough to snow, but there's too much dry air for a ton of snow in Minnesota. That's why the main snow band, the dry air is going to keep the snow band just to the west of Minnesota is what I'm forecasting here. So your heaviest snow band is going to set up right in this region right here, and obviously farther north as well into Canada. So that'd be North Dakota and Canada. Now winds, let's see winds here. Winds are pretty strong, getting about 20, 25, some areas 30 miles an hour. So you're approaching blizzard criteria here. So I think that's going to continue to strengthen. But you can see that the upper levels, 4-6 a.m. Friday, much stronger positive vorticity advection, very powerful upper level low. It's closed off. That's going to really be interesting here as we get towards the day Friday. This is the 700 millibar vertical velocity. Now, what in the world is that? Well, it's measuring the mid-level lift in the atmosphere. And the more negative it is, obviously, it's the stronger here. And this area is very, there's some pretty good lift in there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some thundersnow up in this region right here, kind of near the border of the North Dakota, Canada, Minnesota border. There's some thundersnow right on the backside. As this rain starts to transition over to snow, that's where your best area for thunderstorms is going to develop, thundersnow. It's probably going to happen right on the rain-snow line and just west of that, right where this pocket of lift is, sometime through Friday morning, maybe Friday evening. This is a moderate lift. We'd like to see more for thundersnow, but as you're about to see here, that kind of blows up. So this is around lunchtime, noon, on Friday. This thing is starting to kind of weaken, but still very strong in this area. You still got plenty of moisture back there. It actually might strengthen the snowfall amount still a little bit, but this will start to weaken after midday. But we do have some very long tail of thunderstorms and rain along that cold front. So a very nice organized low pressure system, classic winter storm. And your heaviest snow is probably going to fall around midday or so, maybe 4 p.m. on Friday in this region right here on the back side. You can see that very dry air in here, and I'll show you that in a second, but very heavy snow otherwise. Winds are very strong here, 25 to 35 miles an hour. Temperatures, obviously 32 degrees. There might be some mixing issues in western Minnesota, like I said. And then moisture. You can see that dry punch, significant dry punch in Minnesota. That's going to limit snowfall amounts, but plenty of moisture coming around the backside of this system. There's a little bit of dry air here. That's concerning, but I think there'll be enough moisture either way. I mean, there's plenty of moisture with this system. So you can see the upper levels are just insane. Tons of vorticity up here moving into this system. Around midday Friday is when this thing's going to be really cranking, really pouring down some heavy snowfall amounts. And here's your vertical velocity indicating potential thundersnow, especially in southern Canada right here, midday Friday. But like I said, that's going to change. The vertical velocity is going to change quite a bit, but I think your best area for thundersnow going to be right in this region, northeast North Dakota, northwest Minnesota into southern Canada, in that region right there. That's going to be best bet for thundersnow and about 1 to 2 inch an hour snow rates. Then we go towards, I believe this is 7 p.m. or so, 7 p.m. on Friday. There's your system. It starts to weaken a little bit, still very strong. Look at that dry punch getting punched in all the way to the west. This thing's really cranking and wrapping. This is around 7 p.m. Strong winds still 25 to 30 miles an hour. The blizzard conditions look to line up just to the west of Minnesota as well, with this the low pressure system going to be tracking right over Minnesota. Positive vorticity advection looking great. That is a great looking upper level low. And then you can see this very strong lift. Southern Canada probably getting some thunder snow in a couple of areas in there. And then as we head towards 12Z Saturday, so that's around 6 or 7 a.m., this will start to weaken a little bit. And then this is going to be 7 p.m. Saturday. There's still snow lingering around, but as you can see, it's a lot lighter. The moisture a little more spread out, that dry air getting kind of wrapped around inside of it. You can see that spiral band, just really crazy. Still some pretty strong winds, 20, 30 miles an hour. It's going to be kind of windy on Saturday in the northern parts of Dakotas. That wind's going to start to really wrap into Minnesota. As this thing shears out, it'll spread out the snow and the wind. So Minnesota might actually get some windier conditions on the day Saturday, even though this low pressure system's weakening. You might actually get some wraparound snow. We'll have to look at that in a second here. Vorticity, starts to really close off. You get very cold air as well, and then the mid-level lift's going to be a lot weaker. So the snowfall rate's going to be a lot weaker on the day Saturday, but nonetheless, a little bit of extra snow, bonus snow on the day Saturday here. So let's look at, we'll look at that again. You can see Saturday is your best bet for snow in Minnesota, particularly on the eastern side as it wraps around. That low pressure system will kind of spread moisture around, because the day Friday you had that dry punch in Minnesota, but I think moisture is going to eventually wrap around this thing and give people in Minnesota a shot of snow, maybe as far east as eastern Minnesota. So what is the HRR saying? Excuse me, this is the HREF model. This is the maximum snowfall through Saturday, and you can see 36 to 42 inches. Now, this is a ensemble of models. This is the maximum model, so that's saying 32 to 42 inches. Now, that's not going to happen, I don't think. Now, this is Thursday through Friday. So this is actually in reverse order. Thursday through Friday gives it 12 to 15 inches, and then another 34 to 42 inches or so. Again, this is the heaviest. This is the worst case scenario, because this is an ensemble. Now, if you look at the averages, so this is taking a bunch of models and averaging them together, this is going to be a lot more representative. And you can see this is going to be through, probably through Friday night, and you can see 12 to 15 inches in this area, about 6 to 8 around that in the green, and blue about 2 to 4 inches. And then you look at the next day. Let's see. The next day, some extra wraparound snow, another few inches Saturday. This is actually the 1 inch an hour snowfall. So the previous map we were looking at were totals. And then now we're looking at the 1 hour snowfall. So 1 to 1.5 inches. Maybe even 2 to 3 inch an hour rates here. This is going to be around 7 p.m. Friday, sometime in the afternoon, and you're talking 1 to 2 inch per hour rates in this area. This is pretty crazy. With that low pressure system, that 700 millibar vertical velocity, when that's at a maximum, that's when you're going to get your heaviest snowfall rates in North Dakota. All right, so let's look at the probability of 1 inch per hour snowfall rates, 90% for that same time, around dinner time on Friday for the border. So very likely that you're going to have 1 to 2 inch per hour rates up there. And when that does happen, I think your thundersnow chances are going to pretty much really get high. So 6 inches or more probability. We're looking at 50%. Like, how about this? How about this? The yellow area is going to be 50%. So really this whole area, very good probability of snow, especially as you get into here where it's 90 or so percent. This is almost exactly like my previous forecast, so not much has changed with that. And then 12 inches or more, there's a good 60% chance or greater in the areas in yellow, 80% up there. Very likely you're going to get at least a foot. Would not surprise me if you saw a couple of areas in here, especially southern Canada, northwest North Dakota, in the 2-foot range. So we could be dealing with a couple feet up there. Here's the HRR model. And you can see the effects of the dry air getting kind of kicked in there. So Minnesota is going to get sparred on this one for the most part. On Saturday, there might be some wraparound snow. So those are those little streaks you're seeing, is that moisture comes back in Saturday. This is typical of a classic low pressure system in the winter, a snowstorm. You'll get some wraparound snow. That'll give you maybe a dusting to a couple of inches of snow on the backside. Usually with that wraparound, you're going to get snow squalls and little bands that set up that could give you localized 2 to 4 inch amounts in some of those areas. And some of the models do not forecast that very well far out. The HRR does, but this is pretty far out for that. It's very small little bands that'll set up. The rain-snow line and moisture is going to be an issue up here in northwest northwest Minnesota. So it's going to be very sharp cutoff where you're going to get not much snow to a ton of snow as you head towards North Dakota. And this model in particular, forecasting 12 inches in that area in pink. Then this kind of tan area, 26 or so inches. And there's even more in snow that does fall in, that has already fallen. So you're talking maybe totals in the 30-inch range up there. So very, very heavy snow. And then obviously accumulating snow all the way down to Nebraska. And a good 4 to 8 inches everywhere else in the areas in blue. So very, very good amounts of snow. Bad if you're in that area. Now, slight risk for precipitation. This is going to be free, just regular rainfall. Slight risk of flooding down here in parts of Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. Total precipitation amounts. This is not snowfall. This is liquid. So if you were to change the snow to liquid, you're talking about 1 or 2 inches up there. Some areas maybe in 3 inches. And then down here in the plains, Midwestern region, there's a nice arc of about a ½ inch to an inch or two of rain. So plenty of rain with this system along that cold front. And then obviously tons of moisture that gets kicked back in here with lots of snow. So about 3 inches of liquid in some of that area. Temperatures around 7 a.m. on Saturday, when I believe it's going to be the coldest. Look at this, freezing everywhere. 31 degrees, all for the northern plains or below that temperature. Some areas in the teens. This might get all the way to Colorado or Chicago. So very cold temperatures. How about the winds? The maximum wind through 4 p.m. on Friday is going to be potentially 50 miles an hour, 50 to 60 miles an hour in this area. That's why a blizzard warning has been issued. Very high probability of blizzard conditions out in this region of North Dakota. Either way, there's going to be very strong winds around it. So even if you're not in the blizzard warning, plenty of blowing and drifting of snow in that area. Now, before we stop this video, comment in this comment section where you're from. Curious to know where everyone's from. Get some conversation going on in there. We're going to have a big storm chat party going on in here. So I think we're going to do these more often. This is kind of just a test, kind of experimenting with this for now. But as we get on to this next little section here, this is analogs. This is the closest analog I could find to this storm, which is essentially means the closest storm in the past that looks like this. And this was 11/17/96. This is November 17th, 96. So if you're around for that one, this is kind of a similar storm. Nice system. I would actually say this one's more impressive, the one that we're having right now. But either way, nice system in the Dakotas that went up there, and you can see the snowfall amounts with that storm. You got a nice streak of 2 inches all the way into Nebraska, and then the purple pink areas 8 to 12 inches, really 4 to 8 inches in most of the same area, just a little bit farther east on this storm. So this is a good representation of this storm, but I would actually take this storm and just move it just about 150 miles to the northwest. Like I said in my previous video, nothing much has changed. And then I would add a little bit more snow up here in the Dakotas. This particular storm had about 12 to 18 inches. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of foot to maybe even 3 foot amounts up in that area right there. So pretty crazy storm system we got on our hands right now. So that is going to do it for this forecast update. If you have any photos or videos, go ahead and submit them here if you want them featured. We'll eventually get these on the live stream. And again, if you like these videos, subscribe, hit those bell notifications because we do go live like this. Smash this thumbs up button if you like this video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replay this video a few different times. I think I'm going to do this a few different times, and if I see an update, I'll come back on and make another update. But I got to run right now, so I'm just going to loop this video for a few hours. So again, if I see an update, I'll come back on, but I got a few things to do right now. But either way, hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe out there if you live in that area, and we'll see you soon. Testing. Should go live here any second. All right, there we go. We're live. We're talking about a potential major winter storm here setting up across the northern United States. This is happening right now. Major winter storm, potentially a few feet of snow, and we'll go over that in a second. But before we begin, hit that subscribe button if you like daily weather forecasts, live streams. Hit those bell notifications, and comment below where you're from in the comments section. Also, if you have any good photos of this storm, send them in, and we'll showcase them live here. So you can go to the Weather Decoded Facebook page and direct message me there. First and foremost, we're going to look at the watches and warnings we got set up here. Blizzard winter storm watches up there, freezes and frost warnings to the south, severe thunderstorms down into Oklahoma and Kansas. Quite an active day here. If we zoom into the northern plains, you can see blizzard warnings even for north central North Dakota. I'm going to go over every few hours. We're going to look at the data here. And then what I'm going to do is